Welcome, dear readers, to Cover My Ass, where baffling books are reviewed but not read by yours trulies. My name is Khaki.
And I'm Kay, and remember, we only judge a book by its cover. And this week's cover is Time Ninja by Andy Schoepp. Schoepp. Yeah, let's go with Schoepp.
We always have such fun figuring out how writers' names are pronounced.
How to mispronounce someone's name, yes.
We find ourselves far from the towering stacks of your library that were once familiar.
Yes.
I have embarked on my journey of discovery.
How did you talk me into coming along with you again?
With my usual charm and effortless
I'm
conviction.
Sure you spiked the whiskey.
Maybe I just poured some whiskey into the red ink.
Oh.
That's another way to look at it, isn't it?
Okay.
Listen.
Yeah.
This is my 51st week here. I've been here almost a full year. And the time was when you had to warn me about the misusing of red ink and the various consequences that would have for your memory. I'm just catching all the readers up on the unnecessary lore that has sprung about this literary podcast. But I think I've spent more continuous hours in this library than you have, at least in the last year.
Continuous, yes. I've never been in the library for that long
for
in one
51
stretch.
straight weeks.
No, I
did have a little break.
Well, yes, there was hell, wasn't there?
I was in hell for a
We
bit.
could do that again if you like.
Okay, why would you say that?
I don't know. I'm just trying to be
I'm
helpful.
taking you out on a fun adventure.
Yes.
Here on the... Oh, yes, I should mention. I introduced you to my latest creation, the original, the Beagle 3, which then got shortened to the Threegle. It was just an impractical sort of boat, and then I changed that into sort of like a Voltron style. Yeah.
Hang glider, mountain bike.
And a canoe. I haven't found much water per se, also not very high ceiling. So I changed my mind again. Welcome to the Threegle 3. I've demolished the 2A boat and 2C hang glider and made them into kind of a portable camp that fits on the back of the now much beefier Beagle bike.
It's more like a tricycle, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm calling it the Threegle 3 because it's a tricycle. It's perfect, Kay. It's perfect. We're finally here.
Okay, we're going to have to talk about your naming standards, but that's...
No awards are necessary. I know that you're just as pleased as I am. The Threegle 3 trike...
Let's go with that.
It's perfect. This even got like a comfortable sort of second seat on the back. So how about you climb on and we'll record this while we're exploring the stranger regions of your library.
Okay, let me get my cane and I'll be right back. And
awesome.
Yes.
That's an excellent idea because we've passed the grimoire cage, which usually demarcated the sort of red line beyond which I dared not pass because those books are ferocious and very scary.
If we give them sufficiently wide berth, it should be all right.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying the Threegle 3. It's a highly efficient vehicle. I'm really enjoying the exercise because I've led a very sedentary life in your library. And
well, good. Keep pedaling.
Exactly. So if I sound out of breath, that's just good old-fashioned heart-smart exercise. And now, Kay, what can you tell our readers at home and me about the sections that we're passing through? Because I noticed that I haven't totally figured out the Dewey Imperial System, but these are some very weird symbols on the sides of the shelves.
We ran out of the Latin alphabet 14 aisles ago, and we've moved on to the more esoteric numbering systems.
Now, I recognize
Arabic.
Horus. Oh, yeah.
And then we've moved into Egyptology. Yes, very good.
Yeah.
It took a little bit of effort to get that all into the system, especially digitizing it.
So was this your system?
No, digitizing it, I did a lot of it, but the
Unicode
system already
only
existed.
goes so far. I mean, that one, like, there's an actual apple nailed to the side of a... Like, do you use an apple emoji to signify that in the digital filing?
Well, this is the Egyptology session, so it's always I before C, except...
You know, the Egyptians used rebuses in order to make their writing system into more like an alphabet or an abugida or a syllabus.
Make it more, universally usable to...
I thought that was so cool. Like, the example I heard, obviously it's not an Egyptian example, but if you were writing a letter to your uncle, but you didn't know the symbol for uncle, then you could write the symbol for ankle, if you knew that, and write a line under it, and the line under it means sounds like, It was so useful. It even survived to this day. Like, if you look at the symbol of the pyramid with the sun above it, right? That Ra. Yeah, the sun god, exactly. And then you write a line under it, and then it's the syllable Ra. So either the consonant R or the vowel A. But if you draw a triangle and then a line under it, like, you can sort of see the antecedent of the modern capital A.
Yes. How did that turn into a lowercase a?
The lowercase a came from a different source.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Maybe that came via the Hebrew people who may have adopted it from the Phoenicians when they moved onto that island, or either it was Greek, because they call it Aleph in Hebrew and Alpha in Greek. I just don't know who had it first.
That's like
it sort of looks like a little fish.
Yeah, it is.
When you
which is it's still used for.
Oh, is it?
Well, a little fish on the back of a car.
Oh, is that what it means? I thought it was a reference to
I think it's
we shall
Alpha.
be fishermen of men. That it was because it's a Christian symbol.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of uppercase and lowercase, those terms come from the beginning of typesetting, when there was literally when there was literally a case full of letters, and you had the uppercase and the lowercase letters.
Yes. Oh, that's brilliant.
That's where the name comes from.
That's so cool.
Instead of capitals.
So that must be a very recent word, because the
16-something, or when did Gutenberg come around? 14-something. Yeah, something.
That's when, unfortunately, English lost some of its cooler letters because they weren't in the German alphabet used at the time, and the only printing machines were German, so they only had German fonts.
Yeah, so the Thorn is, I think, the most famous one that got lost.
The Thorn, the F, the Joch.
Yeah. Ye olde shopper. No, it's the old shop. It's just that letter, the Y was the closest letter to what they had. To the That went out the way of the dodo. Oh no, wait, it wasn't killed by sailors.
So it was
so
eaten
tasty.
by lazy sailors.
Okay.
We should probably...
Didn't we have that discussion last week?
It's hard to say. It's almost like time is very confusing, much like in this week's book by Andy Schoepp. So what do we have in store for our readers this week?
Right. We have the Time Ninja, which I think we already mentioned.
If you look down at your podcasting device right now, you should be seeing the cover of today's book, and otherwise you can look in the show notes for an image and a link. And if even that doesn't help, we're also on Twitter at CoverMyAssCast, and we're on CoverMyAssCast.com on the web, where you can find episode 51, where we discuss Time Ninja. And this is a cover that is a little bit unusual for our style.
It seems poorly photoshopped rather than artistically drawn.
It seems like something that someone's, and I say this with great kindness, that someone's hardworking nephew made for them, or that an author perhaps made themselves.
This is, I think, the first time that we have done the third part in a series.
Yes.
Time Ninja is the sequel to Quantum Connection, which was the sequel to Operation Damocles.
Continuing our cycle of threes, Kay. We're on this trike called the Threegle 3. Yeah. We're doing the third in a series. Could it be more perfect?
We're up to 27 now.
On the cover, there's quite a lot going on. Like you see the words Time Ninja,
and what's clearly a ninja.
Their hands held in front of them in a sort of, I recognize it as Lanier's fighting stance from Babylon 5.
Oh,
from the
I didn't know Lanier was so metal.
Lanier is totes metal. He is a Minbari from the religious caste, apparently trained in martial arts, and he takes this fighting stance as well with the pinky and index finger on both hands.
Poke your eye out.
Yeah, exactly. It does not seem at all structurally sound. There is no strike that you can make with your hands in that position without risking your tender little fingers.
Other than that, we have
a wreath of flames and two swords, and they're wrapped in black.
People always talk about a ninja sword, and no, it was just a sword used by a ninja.
Yeah.
Exactly, because you can't have special ninja swords, because then everybody goes oh, he's a ninja, because he's got one of those ninja swords.
Well, they did like short swords,
right? Yeah, because you can hide them easily under long gowns.
Exactly, like the wakizashi or the
kanto.
At least in the Japanese tradition.
We also see up in the upper left corner the ninja power suit.
Now that looks like, probably, now that I'm thinking about it, some fan art.
Maybe.
Look at the quality of that. Compared to the quality of the rest of the image, that looks like maybe some fan art that they cropped out. It is much, much better than the photo of the ninja or the starscape behind them.
Because we have a typical power suit with, I don't know, massive calves and
some rocket launchers
off to the
sides and holding a giant oversized weapon. This is indeed the power suit known as the Terminate Exterminate Robotic Force Multiplier. The M doesn't really play into it.
Oh.
It's kind of redundant.
Right.
They could have called the Terminate Exterminate a redundant force multiplier, but
there's no such thing as redundant force.
Whoa! I don't remember that from the Kama Sutra.
Ooh. And on the bottom left, we have the spaceship and the
sort of rainbow rings in space.
No, it's the Audi gate.
Oh, the Audi gate. Oh, our readers at home are really going to love that particular joke. We should probably explain that it's a gate with a Y.
Yes. That's how it's spelled in the book, at least. The titular time travel machine. I mean, the ninja has to time travel. So, and I think that's the device that's used for the.
I thought it was kind of cool that the German car manufacturers still exist in the future and has shifted to temporal mechanics.
It's turned into one of those mega corporations which does a lot of research and development, which came up with time travel to try and shield them. I mean, notice that Audi wasn't really gotten by Dieselgate.
Yes, that's right.
I think I suspect that at some point in the future they will have developed time travel. I'm just like
they will have had developed time travel. Yes.
And then they made sure that they didn't get burnt by that one.
Wow. What foresight by Andy Schoepp, which thus disproving, I think it was Stephen Hawking.
Yes, he threw a time travel party and only told everybody else the day after.
And nobody came, thus proving that there was no time travel.
Exactly. What do we want? Time travel. When do we want it? Doesn't matter.
Yes. Oh, we should probably talk about the cover of the book. That's usually something
that we've done the cover. We need to talk about the
other cover of the book. The back cover still counts as a cover, doesn't it?
I suppose. Let's go with that.
I'm just saving my ass here.
Okay. So, the T.E.R.Fs have surprisingly succeeded in their quest to eliminate letters from the LGB Trigrammaton, and the cool 23rd century multiqueers of Earth and space conspire to build and train the ultimate time ninja to send them back to protect the Polygrammaton of the LGBTQIAIAO plus of the 21st century and expand the galaxy's future rather than limiting it.
Yes, I celebrate this so much. More and more letters ought to be added to the LGBTQIA, and I thought it was a fun little joke, EIEIO plus, like, just, let's be inclusive.
Me personally, I just go with queer.
Queer is covers just
a nice blanket, like, it's like...
Yeah, like how far does one push their inclusivity? And that's exactly what this bizarre sci-fi book happily deals with. I thought it was really cool. So, yeah, it talks about the T.E.R.Fs. Now, initially when I read it, I thought that referred to the trans-exclusionary radical feminists, a bit of a controversial term, because those who...
It's discrimination, you can't call us that.
We are gender critical in the way that homophobes used to be. No, we're just society normative.
It's a weak argument at the best of times, but
which in the future are the Trigrammaton enforcing recalcitrant fundamentalists. The Trigrammaton referring of course. Now, don't confuse these T.E.R.Fs with the T.E.R.Fs of today, or with the Terminate, Exterminate, Robotic Force Multiplier, the T.E.R.F that the Time Ninja uses. Now, the Trigrammaton refers to 3 letters. I thought it was kind of cool in the way the Tetragrammaton refers to the 4 letters of the Hebrew God in the Old Testament or the Torah. It's polite not to say it out loud, but it's YHWH. Well, listen, in an episode where we're talking about inclusivity, it really doesn't hurt to be extra cool. And I feel sort of the same way. What I was saying about the LGBTQ, like that's usually fine, but in Pride Month, you've got the time to say the whole thing, or however many letters are added to it now, or are embraced by it now. And I mean, you can shorten it again in the month after, which is my favorite, Gay Roth Month, where you just go punk on everybody's ass. It's fucking great.
I mean, I'm more for gay gluttony.
Yes. Now, Gay Lust Month, that's every month.
I suppose there's also gay...
Ace people. No, that's right. And those certainly are included. Listen, the complexities of human and non-human sexual and gender preferences and identities are vast, but it's the Trigrammaton enforcing recalcitrant fundamentalists who have successfully managed to suppress that to a very narrow, binary-based trinary on Earth where you have lesbian, gay, and bisexual.
And that's it.
We have men and women, your gender is assigned at birth, and you like one or the other or both.
And that's it.
To the point that the ancestors of this force, because the Trigrammaton enforcing recalcitrant fundamentalists evolved from the Terran empathy reform force. So the T.E.R.Fs descend from the T.E.R.Fs, and don't confuse those with the T.E.R.F that the Ninja uses.
Yes. And they've got their great leader, the Internet Regulator for Life, who has control of the political correctness control dial, allowing to set the level of political correctness which is allowed on the Internet.
Which manipulates the various algorithms that control and filter and censor our speech.
The Internet, yes. It's just like people seem to think that the president of the US has these switches which control taxes and oil prices, and
like it has a mixing board
where you can just like tweak those and move them around as you see this. And in this case, they've actually managed to get like deep into the technical parts of the internet. And for the odd cases where it does go off the rails, they have, of course, the Yugoslavian troll farm, which is like...
I thought it was kind of cool, like bringing back the influence of Yugoslavia that has occurred in previous instances of this trilogy.
With the Yugoslavian mercenaries from the first part who actually ended up setting off the Copulin bomb. That was it. Creating the gay belt. That was it.
With their popular catchphrase that we repeated very, very often throughout that episode, Let's rot 'em.
Let's rot 'em.
Which is kind of still the catchphrase of the future sort of rebellion against the TERFs. And I mean the TERFs, not the TERFs, and certainly not the TERF power suits.
No.
So the intergalactic future rebellion, the pangalactic inclusivity, whose banner is very, very long, and it includes so many letters.
Some of them repeated several
LGBTQ
times. We ran out of letters, and there's only 26 in our alphabet, unlike the library. Look, we're coming past the Q reform section right now.
Ah, cool. Oh, I like that there's handy chisels next to it.
Well,
so you can, isn't that the Latin for chisel?
But in Dutch we call it spijkerschrift, which means nail writing.
We say weird shit in Dutch.
Because it kind of looks like little nails, It's like a little flat head with a little spiky bit on the end.
Oh, that is true.
I kind of assumed that they had like little nails that they pushed into clay, which was then left to dry. They've got some lovely examples in that in the British Museum, where they have these little clay rolls, which is actually a seal, which was meant to be used in I think in wax. So you had to like kind of roll it either into the wet clay or in the wax, and then it would like imprint the curiform thing of the seal into it. So it was just kind of like an autograph or a Chinese chop, I believe how they called it, or
what?
A chop.
A chop? I don't know what that is.
It's kind of like those Japanese stamps,
like an ex libris, like a
it's more like an autograph. They don't really have an autograph the way we do it in the West. You just like write your name in a very peculiar, illegible way. They have these little stamps which are carved out of bone or wood, or these days you can get them 3D printed in titanium, or traditional ivory was also used. I suppose.
So is it a unique symbol or drawing? It's based on characters.
It's usually kanji based. It either has like it spells out your name, or it has your family symbols. And some people get like very elaborate with them by using like obscure symbols.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it kind of functions as an autograph. And if you have to sign a document, you actually stamp it with that.
It's like a signet ring.
Kind of like that. Yeah,
that's how it was.
Very much so. Yeah,
because it only has value if it's private.
Yes,
it's security through obscurity.
Kind of, yes.
So the pangalactic inclusivity are the cool, like, galactic multiqueers of various species who used to... Was it Detroit, where the previous one was set? The quantum connection was
somewhere in the gay belt.
Yeah, somewhere
between Michigan and Florida.
Your memory is so incredible.
It was like the only place in the universe...
Motorboat City! That's what it was called.
Yes, the only place in the universe with a queer culture.
And later, like, launched back into space to spread the joy of queer partying to the rest of the galaxy. But they're now something of a rebellion against the TERF hegemony. And the TERF is the Trigrammaton enforcing recalcitrant fundamentalists who were derived from the Terran empathy reform force. Gosh, terminology is
basically set up their base in the TERF fortress, as it's generally known, the Fortress of Platitudes.
Yeah. And it's from the Fortress of Platitudes that they launched their missions to alter the composition of the universe, to enforce their very binary view, which they started in Earth, where they're
strictly adhering to the Trigrammaton.
So they split the sun into a binary star system, one blue and one pink.
Yes, that was really confusing for me.
The gravitational consequences of that must be staggering.
Remember how many photographers that would piss off.
Myself included.
Yeah, that would be like...
If I can no longer like set my white balance to a reliable 5600 Kelvin, it'd be kind of cool, like blue and pink lighting.
For about 10 minutes, and then you get like...
It's kind of cool.
Fed up with it, and it's like...
Yes, very...
Oh, why is this image so weird? Yeah, there was a cloud in front of the pink one, but not in front of the blue one. And
yes. So the pangalactic inclusivity rapidly, like... besides the galactic multiqueers, also like incorporate lots of photographers who are upset with the quality of life that the TERFs are subjecting the universe to. So it is through the combination of these various insights, including certainly the galactic photographers' insight into optics, that they develop the rainbow portals under the auspices of Audi, the technological giga corporation, and produce the gate. So now they have a way to send a craft back in time, but it's kind of tricky because it's a small one-person craft, and so what are they going to send back? An entire conference is convened in order to like figure this out. Like, what should we send back? Oh, we should send a virus to wipe out No, that kind of defeats the purpose. That's also meaner than we want to do. Should we send back like a missionary with a sacred book to combat the Trigrammaton?
Ooh, dangerous,
right? Exactly.
That can get corrupted really fast.
Politicians, no. Diplomats, no. A journalist, okay, maybe, but maybe a scientist. Like all of these ideas are passed by until eventually they hit upon the one thing that can't possibly go wrong: A ninja.
Yeah.
Because what is a ninja? You don't fucking know.
Well,
right? They're wrapped in black.
Well, you know about the origin of the ninjas, right?
I mean, yes, but for the benefit of our readers at
okay,
home.
so one of the stories, I'm not actually sure if this is true, but it makes for a lovely story. The typical ninja outfit, as we know, it's like it's an entire black outfit and with just the eyes exposed, would be like really useless unless you're actually trying to sneak through the darkness. But that's the costume that the stagehands had in Japanese plays. And you were meant to ignore them. You're not supposed to see them. So
because when I'm dressed like that, I'm not here, and we agree.
Exactly. Everybody agrees like this person is not here. Like
so that I can move these panels around.
Not part of the play. Exactly. Like make things like things look like they're floating around. And at one point, one of the playwrights wrote a story where one of the stagehands who's walking there suddenly stabs the actor who's playing the kin. Whoa. And everybody's like, "Whoa, what just happened?" And then they just realize, "Oh no, there's like," as the story explains, like this invisible warrior who now suddenly is like turns into the.
Oh,
and that's where the ninja thing comes from, with them wearing the all black outfits. It's just because like that's so cool. That's from the story. That's from
that reminds me of China Miéville's book, The City and the City, about this very bizarre situation where two different cities occupy the same space, but by convention, if you're in, and I'm making quotation marks here, in one city, then you have to unsee anything that's from the other city. So you recognize like people by their dress, buildings by the architecture, and you ignore those. You try not to see them. You don't interact with them until you go through customs to actually enter the other city, where you like go through a gate and you're in the same.
How does that work? But because like if I from city A go through customs into city B, but I'm still dressed as someone from city A.
That's part of what customs is for.
Oh, to like make sure that you confirm to the
like there's a whole training program and to make sure that you know what all the signs are, and like if you make a faux pas, your visa is
withdrawn. Okay, so I'm wondering like how's anybody else from
it
city
gets really
A
weird in traffic
supposed to know? Oh, that could be dangerous. I hope that everybody drives on the same side of the road.
The cities are Bechel and Ulkoma, and if an Ulkoman car like veers onto your side of the road while you're in Bechel, I mean, you can sort of veer around it. Like, obviously, you're not supposed to endanger your life.
Yeah.
Or if someone, if an Ulkoman like draws a gun and is aiming down the street, now you're not really supposed to duck, because he's not aiming at you.
Supposedly.
Right? But allowances are made to protect your life. Pardon me to our readers at home for accidentally reviewing a book I have read. That's a terrible faux pas.
Our ninja comes back in time to the end days of the quantum connection in the aftermath of that.
Yes, sent through the time portal by the USS Elagabalus, named for the rather bad, according to some sources, Roman emperor who ascended to power at the age of 14 and sometimes dressed as a woman and prostituted himself and married women and men.
Did he need the money, or was he just doing it for fun?
Yes, he or she bragged about it. Like, he seemed to be extremely gender fluid and queer, but also highly unpopular. Good. Also assassinated. But
it happened a lot back then.
Imagine the parties that they must have given. So yes, the USS Elagabalus,
anyway.
Piloted by Roberta Cowell the 17th, the descendant of Roberta Cowell. I learned about her recently. She was I think in the Second World War, she was like a soldier and a pilot, and later the first British trans woman to undergo gender reassignment surgery and live as a woman. Proud to see that her tradition continues.
17 generations later.
Yeah, exactly.
Not very original in the naming if you have to get up to 17.
It might be, we've talked about this before, a geuzennaam, a name taken in pride.
Nom de plume. Is that the right word?
Plume is feather, so pen. That's usually a pen name.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's for writers.
No, you're right. I should know that. I have a library.
Yes, and a fantastic library you have. Oh, what's this passage that we're passing right now? There's a cage with an actual live turkey on this shelf. Like, what am I supposed to... Who feeds this turkey?
Well, if you look on the right side, you have the papyrus swamp.
Oh, no. I could have sailed on this with a 3-2A.
Well, it's not that deep.
Oh?
It's a papyrus field. It's like...
Papyrus is a type of reed, isn't it?
Yes. It's called the Field of Reeds.
What's called Field of Reeds?
The Egyptian afterlife.
Is it?
Yes.
What happens?
Not sure. There's lots of people there, but you don't really see many of them because it's like lots of reeds.
Oh.
I never really figured out the point of it.
That seems confusing.
It is a bit, but I
mean, the Roman like Elysium, like that's green fields of wheat. Like that seems
well. And there's of course the if you suddenly find yourself walking along fields of grain, then do not worry, for you are already dead.
Yes. Oh, what's his name? Maximus
Gladius, Elephanticus, there's something.
Yeah, exactly.
Down to the knees.
So, yes, our time ninja, whose identity is shrouded in mystery, they seem like, sometimes it's referred to as if they were built or trained, or like, I'm not sure what to think of it, but it's this.
Yeah, it's like it's left in the middle whether or not we're talking about a wholly organic being or if it's more of a construct.
But you know what? In the pangalactic inclusivity, anything goes.
Yes.
Like, there are some species that are just downloads.
Yes.
Some are just gaseous clouds. Some of them are electromagnetic frequencies.
We have a couple of robots in here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very nice to cuddle up on the couch with someone who's charging. Like there's a lot of warmth coming out of it, like cozy and warm.
Well, yes, I've seen the little librarianess sleeping on your phone while it was charging a few times, because it's
there you go.
It's a nice little heating pad.
I just imagine a phone that can cuddle you back.
Oh, that would really solve so many problems. The mission is a success, and through the Audi gate, the single-person craft carries the time ninja back into time.
Yes, coming to destroy the metafilter, which is kept in the Fortress of Platitude.
Yes, thus disrupting the T.E.R.F's plan to split the sun into blue and pink.
They have to fight themselves through a field of aggressive abuse report bots, which are guarding the Fortress of Platitude.
Really overly aggressive, like. And I thought that this was such an exciting fight because they only have the two swords and then a few guns, but the guns don't last very long.
Well, it's like they're fire and forget weapons.
An inelegant weapon. Yeah. To take out these robots that just keep coming, and certainly as the internet regulator for life notices that they're under attack and turns the PC control dial up to maximum.
Yes.
Reducing everything to, like, the internet sort of collapses into a singularity of, I guess, brave little toasters or veggie tales or like whatever.
Something like that. It's like we can't talk about anything anymore.
Anything. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, no, it probably reduces to Bob Ross.
Oh, that would be nice.
The painter. Like,
that's kind of nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't think there's anyone who goes to Bob Ross and goes, none of that more. So, you know, he was really popular in, like, Iran.
Oh, because I guess it's like something that they can watch and put on TV, which is completely inoffensive. And he talks
it's completely halal.
He does talk about God a lot.
Yeah, he doesn't draw anything living, and he praises God all the time.
Yes, I suppose so. And he's talking about beating the devil out of his brush.
Yeah, so great.
Yeah.
So great. They absolutely love it there. It totally makes it through all the filters. So, yeah, probably Bob Ross would still survive after the PC control dial was turned all the way to maximum. But our time ninja, in their time of need, are assisted by the ancestors of the pangalactic inclusivity, the friends of Ozma. Yes. Ozma, one of my favorite characters from one of L. Frank Baum's books, where a princess who's raised as a boy and discovers to her shock that she's actually female. Like, it's confusing. Rather well portrayed, I thought, by a young actor in one of the television versions, Emerald City. By Tarsem Singh.
I've only seen the first few episodes of that. I really have to sit down and watch the rest of it because it's cinematographically gorgeous.
Yes. Well, that's Tarsem Singh for you. The Cell, Tarsem did as well.
Yes, and with the horse getting split up into slices. Yes.
And The Fall, also an excellent film. We have to finish this book because the Friends of Ozma help to defeat the aggressive abuse report bots so that the time ninja can destroy the metafilter.
Yeah. And take care of the internet regulator for life.
Stabbing them right through the chest, like kind of brutal. But I kind of appreciate it. I talked about this before, that I'm kind of done with the idea of heroism as a purely destructive force. And I think that the pangalactic inclusivity agreed with this. Like, we have to eliminate this, but we can't just make things better by destroying something bad. That's never enough. So
we have to give a good alternative.
The pangalactic singularity has been working on something in parallel to developing the time ninja that they also send back with them to deliver back to the 21st century and thus accelerate the process of inclusion that we all want to be our future. So after taking care of the internet regulator for life and destroying the PC control dial, the time ninja delivers the Omega Kink.
Yes.
The Omega Kink, which is something
the
mystical. Yeah, the ultimate thing that a lot of people can be into, whether you have arms or tentacles or whether you like to feel things, or whether you are an asexual person or an aromantic person, or you like solitude, like the one thing that everyone can enjoy regardless of where on the various queer spectra or normative spectra they fall on. Thus finally giving even the straightest, squarest, cis heterosexual people something that,
I'm really into missionary position. I can
go. The Omega Kink sounds good.
Yeah.
To wave the flag now, finally creating the universal intersectionality that we know is where we need to be heading.
It's kind of like the sexual singularity, which we can use for...
Yes, which I hope comes back in whatever the sequel is to this, because I do hope that there's more books in this.
I would have to check my library. We might have to sail a lot further before we get there.
Listen, I can paddle pretty hard. I'm Dutch. We're born on bikes. I've been cycling uphill both ways for the decades that I've been in school and at work. Don't worry about that. I'll get us there. So how are we going to rate this book? Because it sure did go all over the place, didn't it?
Oh, yes, I do. I mean, there are 5 rings on the Audi gate. But there's like 6 colours on the gay flag, so 5 out of 6.
5 out of 6 sounds fair.
That sounds like a good one.
We got there really quick this time.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's like
sometimes time vortexes work in your favour, don't they?
It does. Maybe we have some time
Speaking of reviews, please leave a review of our plucky little podcast on your service of choice, and by all means, pick an episode you haven't listened to yet, and just imagine what it's about, because that's kind of on brand.
Yes, you can find us at Cover My Asscast on Twitter and covermyasscast.com.
Oh yeah, look at us. We're really getting the hang of this. 51 episodes in, we're finally starting to properly promote ourselves. So, what do we have in store for our readers next week?
Yes, next week's book is by Stephanie Klein. It's called Moose, a memoir of Fat Camp.
Had me run up until there. And that about covers it. Thank you for joining us at Cover My Ass, where baffling books are reviewed but not read by yours truly. My name is Khaki.
And I'm Kay. And remember, we only judge a book by its cover.
We really do have to do more in this series. Like, it's probably only going to get harder and more confusing.